Hey, what's up everybody? This is Steven here. I just thought I'd jump on here and do a video using my 1DX Mark II and talk a little bit about the new Canon EOS R full frame mirrorless camera. I'm pretty excited about it. The specs have come out. All there have been is leaks of specs. Hasn't been announced. It's supposed to be announced on September 5th, and right now it's September 3rd. There's some good things about it, some bad things about it. It's a full frame mirrorless, the first one from Canon. Nikon just released their Z6 and Z7 full frame mirrorless a few days ago. I guess I can just get into the actual information about it. First of all, what's not so hot about it? There's only one SD card slot in it, and that's not going to be very good if you do weddings, if you do any kind of events that you can't afford to have the card fail on you because there's no do-overs. Some people are concerned about that. It would be nice for it to be two slots, but there's only one. Just like the Nikon Z series, they only have one slot too. The Canon has an SD card slot, whereas the Nikon has the XQD, which is a higher end, newer technology. SD cards are cheaper. SD cards will get the job done. There's some that are pretty fast and pretty tough and pretty rugged. Another not so hot thing is that the EOS R does not have IBIS. That's in-body image stabilization. But Canon never really has had in-body image stabilization. They tend to put their IS, image stabilization, in their lenses. And there are a couple of lenses that are coming out specifically for the R mount that have IS, and then there's a couple of really great lenses which we'll talk about later that do not have IS. So not having IBIS is considered a not so hot item, kind of a bad thing among a lot of people. For me, it's not so much, because if I need image stabilization, I'll just use the lenses with image stabilization in them. Another negative is it only has 5 frames per second with autofocus. It's 8 frames per second maximum frame rate for stills, but with autofocus, servo AF, it goes down to 5 frames per second. That's not so great. Also, another negative is there's no joystick. A lot of people are complaining about, oh, there's no joystick on the back, to select your points and all that kind of stuff. But there are cross keys that let you do your autofocus selections, and also there's a touch screen. So there's ways around not having a joystick. Now, the hot things about this thing are a lot more, a lot of really good hot things about this camera. It has a full frame 30 megapixel sensor, which looks like it's the same sensor that's in the 5D Mark IV. It's a couple years old, but it's an excellent sensor, very good in low light, very good image quality. So they're starting with a pretty good high quality sensor, and the fact that it may be the same sensor could be holding the cost down as well. They've been building this thing for a while, and it could be a real, keep the cost low. Another hot thing is the dual pixel autofocus. Dual pixel AF, Canon has the best autofocus of anybody. That dual pixel AF beats everybody's autofocus. Also, there's a flippy screen, so not only does the screen, the rear LCD, tilt, but it flips all the way around so you can see what you're videoing when you're vlogging. So as far as I know, that's the only full frame camera out there that has a flippy screen. So it's what I've been calling a vlogger's paradise. It has the Canon touchscreen. Nobody beats Canon's touchscreens. The touchscreens Canon makes currently are better than anybody else's. Also Canon color science. So you know, everybody wants to have color as accurate and as good as Canon's color science. So when you combine all that together, the full frame 30 megapixels, the dual pixel AF, the flippy screen, the Canon touchscreen accuracy, and the Canon color science, all together in the same camera at a prosumer price is what they're claiming, probably around a couple $1,000s. That's a great combination, especially for Canon people who would like to go and use their same lenses and not have to go reconstitute every single thing all at once. You know, so it's a way to transition into mirrorless inexpensively and still have something really good. Some other really good things about it: it has EV -6, which means it will focus almost in the dark. It is absolutely better than anybody else out there, better than the Sony, better than Nikon. Of course, it will focus at EV of -6 with an f1.2 lens. That doesn't mean your f1.2 lens needs to be set at f1.2. You can set it at whatever aperture you want, but if it's an f1.2 lens, it'll focus at ISO 100 at EV of -6, which is extremely dark. So it's really, really great in low light. Another big deal is the number of autofocus points. This is unbelievable. It has 5,655 autofocus points. And they're all selectable, because you got this little crossbar thing that you're able to, you know, to select any of those 5,655 autofocus points. That trounces anybody else. You know, most everybody else had maybe a couple of hundred, maybe 300, 400 maybe. Well, 5,655 for this one. Another big thing is the lens selections for this camera. Unbelievable. Right out of the box, what we're seeing is, and I'll just come right out with it, the most exciting one that's going to be available is the 28-70 f2 lens. Yes, f2, not 2.8, not 4, 2. It is a big fat lens. It is heavy, 3.1 pounds, but my gosh, an f2 that's in a zoom. When's the last time you saw a medium range zoom, or any zoom for that matter, with an f2? There's not many out there, if any. And so that lens right there alone is enough of a reason to buy the camera, because that camera is the only one that we know of right now that lens will be able to work with. So if you want a 28-70 on a full frame that has f2, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. It's probably going to be very expensive though. But the other lenses are exceptional as well. There's a 50mm f1.2, so then you'll be able to use that EV -6 real well. So it's a brand new 50mm f1.2 specifically for this camera, the EOS R. So you know that's going to be good. And there's a 35mm EOS R mount lens that has IS. It's not an L lens, but it's still an RF mount lens for this camera. And there's a 24-105 f4 IS. Oh, the 35mm was 1.8, f1.8. There's a 24-105 f4 with IS as well, and that one is going to be kitted with the camera. If you want to buy the camera and lens together, they'll come together and it'll probably save you a lot of money on the combination. And yes, that has IS, and That one you won't have to worry about IBIS because it's got the image stabilization in it, and that may be the one everybody vlogs with anyway. 24 to 105 is a good range. It's a great walk around camera lens. So those 4 lenses look like they're coming out right off the bat. So the 2 really fast ones is like unbelievable. The 24 to 70 that Nikon's coming out with is f4, not even f2.8. This 28 to 70 is f2. 4 times the light is getting into that thing. Probably going to cost 4 times as much too, but I don't know. But that's really exciting. Let's see what else we got. Lens selections. Adapters for the DSLR lenses. You get to use all your existing DSLR lenses. You get to use all of them. All the EF and all the EFS lenses for your DSLRs will be usable on this EOS R full frame mirrorless camera with an adapter. And there are like 3 different adapters you can use. Some of them allow you to put filters in the back behind the lens. Other ones have like a control mechanism on it. Not sure what that does. And other ones are just, you put it on and you can put all your EF and EFS lenses on there. You just can't put EFM lenses on it, which are the crop sensor mirrorless lenses. You can't put those on. But all your DSLR lenses, you're good to go. You're good to go with all those. And that's huge. That's going to get your Canon fans moving over into mirrorless, at least for the things that don't require fast action or wildlife, you know, that kind of thing. I'm recording this on my 1DX Mark II, and that's an ideal camera for wildlife, birds in flight, sports, and all that kind of stuff. It's just absolutely amazing. So you're not going to replace that with this prosumer mirrorless camera at this point. But hey, for everything else, it's looking pretty good. You can charge the camera, the EOS R, via the USB port. So you can be vlogging, you can be videoing, and you can have it plugged in and charging. So you don't have to worry about your battery running dead on you while you're working. And that's if you're using the LPE6N battery, which is the next hot item. It uses the LPE6N battery, which is the same battery that the 5D Mark IV uses and the 7D Mark II. So it's the same camera, it's the same battery, and that battery is really, really good. Everybody's happy with it. It may even be used in some other cameras as well. But you know, that's a good, powerful battery. There's also a battery grip. It's a proper battery grip. The one with the Nikon Z6 and Z7 is not even a grip. It's just a pack. And you just hook it on the bottom of the camera and it's just a pack. It doesn't have any controls on it. Well, Canon's battery grip has 2 of these LPE6N batteries in it with controls. You got the knobs, you got the shutter button, you got, you know, it's a proper battery grip. Other good things, it's got MP4, so you don't have to go with motion JPEG. MP4 is a better standard. It's got all-eye compression, which is a better compression routine, higher quality than some of your other compression routines. The bit rate is really high. It's 480 megabits per second in 4K at 30 frames per second. And it has a headphone jack and a microphone jack. So, I mean, there's a lot of good things about this this camera. Now, the things we don't know, there's a few things we don't know yet. Other than we're not positive it doesn't have IBIS. We just haven't been told it has IBIS. The specs that have leaked don't tell it has IBIS. We don't know for sure it doesn't have 2 SD card slots. We just know the spec sheet doesn't say it has 2 card slots. So we're assuming it doesn't. So those are a couple of things that need to be confirmed at announcement. And the price, there's been an assumption that it's going to be around $2,000. One leak said it was going to be around $1,900. We don't know for sure. We believe it's going to be kitted. There'll be a kit option with the 24-105 f4 lens. We're guessing it's going to be around $2,500 with the lens. I don't know, but that's the prices is one of the unknowns. Also, the availability. We don't know if this camera is going to be available right away. Is it going to take a month or two before it's available? Or next year? Is this just going to be a development announcement, or is it going to be available right away? And what's the roadmap for the lenses and accessories and things like that? We know about these 4 lenses that we think are going to be available pretty quickly, if not right away. What about the other lenses? What about a wide zoom? Maybe a 16-35 or something like that, or any wide primes, wider than the 35 that's out there, that we think is going to be out there. And will there be a higher end version announced this time, or a couple of months later, or soon? The reason why we believe there will probably be a higher end version is that the lenses are extremely high end, professional, and no doubt very expensive lenses. That 28-70 f2, that's going to cost a mint. And the 50mm f1.2, that's going to be expensive too. Those are professional lenses, absolutely professional lenses, and it's kind of doubtful that they would just make those for a prosumer version of this full frame mirrorless camera without also coming out with a higher end one that perhaps has 2 SD cards, and perhaps does go at higher frame rates than 30 frames per second in 4K and 60 frames per second in 1080p. So those are the things we don't know. But overall, the good things are really, really good here. For me, you can't beat the combination of Canon's focus, Canon's color science, the ability to flip your screen around and vlog using that, and the superiority of the Canon's touchscreen, along with the lens selections that are going to be available. Not to mention all your existing lenses, all your existing Canon lenses, EF and EFS lenses, will work with this thing with an adapter. And so you put all that together at a good, relatively inexpensive price for a full frame, and I think you've got a winner. So I'm just stoked. I'm excited. I want to see the announcement and see just exactly what we're going to get, and what's going to be coming down the road. And so September 5th is what they claim is the announcement date. Photokina is later on in the month. So, even the September 5th date's a rumor. Canon hasn't been saying anything. So these leaks, a lot of them have been coming from Nokoshita, and I guess he's in Japan. And everybody else has just been picking up on that and running with it and speculating on stuff. But we'll see how accurate all these rumors turn out to be. And it'd be nice to, for some people to get this camera in their hands and actually try it out. Does it autofocus well during video, and during still shots and all that? Apparently this thing is supposed to dual pixel autofocus during 4K video. So are there any constraints to that? Are there limitations that we don't know about? And basically, how well does it function? The Nikon Z series, according to Tony and Chelsea, had a little trouble focusing and you know, with moving objects, people walking toward the camera, it kind of went in and out of focus and didn't really do very well. They'll probably tighten that up with software, but yeah, let's see how this camera actually does when it's in people's hands. So we'll see. So that's it. I'm very happy, very excited. We're gonna see what we're gonna get, and that's all, folks. Peace.